It's an easy adjustment period. I'm curious to see where Ethan is going to end up settling in his roles in the long term. But regardless, we are ready to kick things off here. As again, FaZe Clan does start with a 1-0, just in case you're confused, because they came in from the upper bracket, not losing a series and making it to this finals. We'll be starting here with 100 Thieves. On the attacking side, you've got FaZe playing defense. You can see some presence currently over towards B, but an aggressive look over on A results in some damage dealt. That'll send the likes of FaZe reeling back to the site. A Boombot going out to clear out the close corners. Nothing spotted as the Jet has actually updrafted up into the rafters. It's Baby Bay who has to watch out for the damage that could be coming. Now, the Boombot can spot you in this position. It can't actually hit you, but it can get triggered. It's a little bit of an interesting setup. Nice paranoia over on long. Zachary
cover going out.
Currently in position, dropping a smoke, goes for the peek. But as of yet, no deaths in the round as it ticks down to about 50 seconds.
Yeah, you definitely had a couple of fights just to waste utility. It was canceling information. A couple of smokes one way along B. They also got the dart out early, but here comes the push towards B here. I'll talk about it later.
Shots finally coming through, and a fatality is finally on board. It's FaZe who strikes first, but an immediate clapback from 100 Thieves. Ethan finds 2 kills with the Ghost and a nade perfectly placed to force them out from behind yellow. You've now got a post-plant scenario with a damaged target in Raucus. Corey by his side, no utility left remaining for the Rays. Gonna have to get a couple kills to pull those paint shells back out. And look at the positions currently set up. You've got this lurk coming in from under tube. So they're just going to be playing this slow. There's the first shots coming out from the Sheriff long range. Somehow Steele's not necessarily connecting, but he's got them exactly where he wants them. That puts Raucus on the other side of the wall, unable to help out his teammate, and ultimately the round goes the way of 100 Thieves. Despite the fact that Steele doesn't get the kill, that works out beautifully.
Exactly. If he doesn't get kills, he does damage, and he's separating the two-man take on the retake for FaZe. But when I was talking about information denial at the beginning of the round, so there was a lot of one-way smokes from Zachary. At the same time, you had a recon dart that came out from Hiko. So they don't know how many players are playing on that B side, how many players are stacking on the defender side, how many players are trying to push forward on the attacker side. And when you finally had a play on contact towards this A side with Asuna, with Steele, that's when they're like, okay, it was an attempt of being aggressive from Baby Bay on a flank, which is something that he likes to do a lot on his map, and then they crunch back towards B on a 5-man push, which worked out in their favor for 100 Thieves.
Oh, Corey had an opportunity there, just couldn't quite get the Sheriff under control. Paint shells will go out. It's Asuna who's stuck currently in the corner by fence. Knows he has to be careful as that player could be getting close. He's calling in support, but it's not there in time, and that angle is not going to work out so well for the Sage on the high ground. Look at this setup as well. Marv, he's gone full turtle up in that too. Currently waiting for the peak to come through. It's a shorty right around the corner, and it's a game of chicken as well. You can hear the Aldron coming through, but yeah, he's just waiting. And that's unfortunately, they do walk right past, so no dice today.
Yeah, sometimes you want to put that wall in behind you so you can fake out the sound and then play it close to think that there's nobody playing in two. But now he's going to crunch from behind, and that's it. It doesn't work out, unfortunately.
Yeah, that backfired just a bit. 100 Thieves, though, still at a player disadvantage as they go for spike placement. Over on the B site, there is a recon dart that's sent out. It's not going to spot anything. They're breaking through the ice wall as well, so they come in from tube. You've got Corey, who's currently jiggling back from spawn, doesn't spot one out, and that's Nitro striking first. Hiko spots one, just sees the hip, and now has to be careful. Down to 65 HP, knows they're close. He's relying heavily on his teammate at distance. The SMG not working out so well. A slow orb's going to go down. There's a smoke coming in as well, but he's not sticking the spike. He swings wide. Zachary will end up clutching the round out for FaZe, as they steal one away from 100 Thieves to keep things tied up at 1.
Yeah, that was actually very well done here from FaZe on that retake. I didn't think it was winnable at that point for FaZe Clan, especially when it was a very patient, slow play, methodical for 100 Thieves, as we know them for, on the way that they want to do their executions. The wall, a perfect split into that B site. But the pulse plan, I guess it didn't gather enough information of where the rotation was coming from. Since you did have Marv flanked from tube at Harry Potter, as Uber like what to call it, or under tube, then it actually fumbles a little bit how 100 Thieves wants to execute into the B site, and FaZe is able to crunch into that one. So a great way to win the round that puts 100 Thieves on an eco. And with this eco, you now have Nitro with a Marshall. They want to play this distance, they want to play the range, so they could maybe try to do some damage on how aggressive FaZe has been on the A side. And that's the second time this happens.
I love that play from Baby Bay. Just lurking, creeping on in. And that's another early blow for 100 Thieves. They definitely did not want to take. Steel's caught underneath tube. You said Uber calls it Harry Potter, a reference to 4 Privet Drive. Harry Potter's residence, of course, underneath the stairs. It is a 5-on-2. The numbers heavily in favor of FaZe right now. They do have spike control at least, but obviously you can tell by the equipment that not much can be done. And just look at the setup. You've got this super passive play in spawn with their Sova. He's just sitting back in spawn, watching so they don't push backside A. This should be an easy lockdown round for FaZe.
Yeah, Hiko's going to try to look for an opening right now too, but they have to start recognizing this for 100 Thieves. But the creep is coming up slower here towards the A side. Baby Bay is going to play that distance on high grounds to make sure that the spike is down.
Opportunity here for Ethan. Knows the magazine is potentially dry, but just couldn't quite connect.
Yeah.
And in that time, backup does arrive from right around the corner. FaZe, they've stolen the lead away, but a full buy will be coming in for both teams. This is where they'll be tested most. Nitro already has the res available, so not only is it the kills, it's good orb control and bomb or spike placement coming in for 100 Thieves that'll allow them to have that res. And based on the way the early rounds have played out, with those aggressive plays coming in from FaZe, you might see that aggressive look from someone like Baby Bay, and then they could revive.
Yeah, and that's the issue right now, is because if you're looking at the setup for 100 Thieves, whenever they have these gun rounds, you see how Steel always plays that turret at the spawn side, and he's watching for any pushes towards mid. So you don't really have anybody playing towards belt. So FaZe recognizes that, and for 2 rounds in a row, they push forward for that.
That's a player you're going to have to watch out for, is Asuna. He's punished by Baby Bay again in an aggressive position, but let's not forget, there's the Sage res. So there you go. That's a nice little advantage. That's going to cause a peek out coming in from the knives of Baby Bay, who's found now 3 kills on the round. His target was brought back to life, resuscitated with the Sage CPR. But he's got no interest in allowing that player to survive any longer. Ethan has made it onto B. A nice little smoke to give him a bit of a one-way onto Corey. The knives are still out, though, as Baby Bay is looking for the ace. Still has some smokes available. Goes for the swing! It's Baby Bay with the ace.
Okay, you gotta start being worried about Baby Bay. He's been good in a couple of rounds before versus other teams. And like I said, I don't want to discredit any other teams right now, but they've had a slightly easier run than 100 Thieves did to make it into the grand finals. This is the biggest test for FaZe. They're playing against the first strike champions, and he's able to get an ace into a full gun round into here. So a push towards A main that punished 100 Thieves, a push towards mid that punished 100 Thieves. So at this point now, for the attacker side, they have to figure out what type of area they could try to focus on and try to capitalize on. So far, it's been towards this green side with good fight versus Zachary, and they're going to try that and continue to push him away at the start. Hopefully they could do this with rifles, because Ethan was able to creep into that B side before. It's just those pulse plants, those mid rounds, that Zachary has been a thorn in her side.
Again,
sorry, Baby
they
Bay.
are aggressive. Look at this, A-side presence. They're just pushing so aggressively. You can see that punish from Baby Bay. Marv got one in mid as well. They're giving B site, but they're kind of shifting their resources around. So they play a little bit further back on B, but way further up on A. That's what allows 100 Thieves to get into these positions, but FaZe is not allowing them to do anything with it. And most importantly, they left the spike at home.
Yep.
Can't leave that one behind as Marv will make it look easy with the 4K. That's a 4-1 strong start for FaZe here against 100 Thieves.
And getting a 4K right now, Marv, that allows him to get the ult. I mean, he probably still already had it, but he's looking very good here to support FaZe in these rounds where it could get quite difficult. Now that 100 Thieves has a full weapon round, a full AR, and they're stacking up 4 players. And look at Still's position, the way that he wants to adapt into this, right? So the turret goes all the way back towards the spawn side at the entrance of A side so that he can prevent any pushes towards mid and also fight any lurks on belt side at the A nest. And that's why he's walking up that ramp. So it's going to be a 4-man push, 400 Thieves to work together. Steel is really going to play a much more patient lurk than he has on various rounds in the past versus other teams on this map.
Problem with this turret placement, though, Vincently. can't
Oh,
get
they could
very
creep
far
up.
away from it. Like, it's stuck in the corner. So he's going to have to stick nearby if he wants that turret to have that level of impact. And again, it's an early pickoff. This time onto the Sage. That's a brutal blow. As they lose Nitro, they lose the heals, they lose the wall, the slows, everything associated with that Sage play. Now, in that time, Steel has crept up slowly but surely onto Sage. Oh my gosh, never mind.
Yep.
Baby Bay is feeling it right now. He's on a whole different level, and that's what allows that pickoff to happen. You hear the port coming out as well. This is just incredibly well read from FaZe. As 100 Thieves has their backs against the wall, they have to make a move at this point. A paranoia comes through, but they can't really gain much space off of it. Raucus is hiding currently inside a smoke. As it fades, Hiko will drop.
Wow.
Baby Bay with another multi-kill round. He is on fire right now.
Yeah, and that's where FaZe trusts their teammates' calls, because that was only a 1 versus 1 on the site in the beginning. That was Baby Bay versus Steel. Baby Bay winning that one, and you have an immediate ult from Zachary all the way from B at A side when they had basically a little bit more pressure towards B side still. But they trusted that call that the hit was going to happen towards A, and they read that perfectly. So they're confident. It's not just Baby Bay. Corey's also getting these pushes. I know he's only at 4 and 3, but that's 2 rounds as well where he was able to go aggressive and get the first blood for the team. In the numbers of first blood in this department for the first half, it's all been FaZe.
Oh man, look at this again. Baby Bay is so aggressive, feeling it. It could be punished, and it is. Not aware that there was a looming threat on the high ground. Now relies upon his team, who's on site. Raucus is playing off on the angle, trying to hide. Will take damage if he falls off that. It's about 15 if I'm not mistaken. Marved also falling to the rifle, and there's the 15 damage taken by the Sova. They've got A site control, and more importantly, Nitro's been able to gather up another orb and another player brought back into the fight. It's Asuna, one you desperately want. It's a 3-on-5, a promising look for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and it's a res when they're on a half buy, right? There was a rifle that they picked up from Baby Bay. A couple of them still have pistols. They're just confident that they might be able to take this round because they have the showstopper from the res. So they want to use that to clear space. And it worked. Oh no, it doesn't work.
Okay, FaZe have turned things around. You've got Zachary, who's full W. He has 0 chill. They spot one towards Maze. They know the last player's on high. They're going to try and tap despite debating him out of position. It's Steel. Goes for, actually, it looked like he was going to go for a reload or maybe even some utility, but gets gunned down through the wall as he goes up the ropes into opposite tube. FaZe, they had a massive numbers disadvantage, and yet still, somehow, they end up on top of the round.
And that's right, and you saw the showstopper that also came out from Corey at the same time, and he's the one that's going to capitalize on that kill. So it's very well done. It was a nice attempt for 100 Thieves, like I said, to try to utilize the res from Asuna to play the numbers game and the ultimates to try to win this. And I'm pretty sure at that point, from Steel's point of view, he got wallbanged, but I think from Zachary's point of view, he definitely saw Steel come up from the ropes into there. That made it an easy 1 versus 1. So you baited out 2 ultimates, which is the res and also the showstopper for 100 Thieves. You're looking pretty good in the gun round right now for FaZe.
Oh my gosh, again, look at the aggression. Corey has charged up top.
Dude.
He's got a nade coming down. Now he's going to die, but that nade is going to do significant damage. And there's no Sage to bring them back to full health, as again, they lost Nitro early. FaZe is just full Wing right now against 100 Thieves. And it's working out way more frequently than maybe it should.
Yeah, this is where they're going to start winning like the ability game mid-round into the late lurks for 100 Thieves on the executions. Because as they keep dying, like 5 seconds in a round of how Baby Bay and Corey have been so aggressive, it's going to come down to, okay, well, now we actually have to use utilities at the beginning of the round to try to clear out spots, and he won't have anything left once they get into the sites, where FaZe will have a lot more on the retakes.
There's the ult being popped, double ults coming out. The knives are pulled as well for Baby Bay. They realize they forced them off the spike. A delay on the third pulse from Raucus just in case. You've still got Baby Bay here. Here's the plant come through, knows that the nades are coming. Tries to get vertical. Asuna cuts that play down quick. Nice shots onto Baby Bay. You've still got Hiko in position. The numbers advantage has been turned around. That shock dart's going to fly a little bit further away as it had a little bit too much juice on it. Recon dart going in to give away positions. Asuna drops off Maze just in time. Satchel Pack going inside that dart cover, trying to get up onto the high ground. It's now down to Raucus. They know there's one up top, but there's just not much that can be done. 100 Thieves They may have lost some early resources with that aggressive play, but they turned it back around and made the round theirs. That said, it's still only 2. They've got quite a mountain built up between them and FaZe currently.
Yeah, and that's who else but Ethan, right, to try to help the team to get into the sights on these late mid rounds, because he's done on the B side, he's now doing on the A side once he gets all the information of where FaZe are currently at. That's the little bit of the weakness that you have in terms of the aggressive play from FaZe right now. Because you have players that are so pushed up, you don't really have anybody else that has an opportunity to trade with you, right? So it's a one and done if you actually get punished for it for Baby and for Corey. But they continue it. Corey's already on the pipes.
And again, the challenge right there. We talked about it in the pregame. How are they going to handle an up presence when we knew it would come in from FaZe? FaZe bread and butter. And Corey, he says, it's cute and all that we rely on the up. We don't need to. I'm here. I got it. 4-on-2 in favor of FaZe very early in the round yet again.
30 seconds in, and these guys, 400 Thieves, are still at the entrance pretty much of A nest. They haven't made it even past the cross of the orb, and that's again just the aggressive play from these two duelists for FaZe.
Well, Hiko is left standing, and it's never a guarantee when this man's alive in a one-on-many. We've seen him clutch several rounds, but now is not the time. 30 HP and high ground for Baby Bay means a round win for FaZe. Looking at the scoreboard, currently Baby Bay is 16-4. Corey on an impressive pace as well, 9-6. It's not a bad scoreline. Corey's been playing super aggressive, obviously catching a fair bit of damage in those scenarios, whereas Baby Bay has a bit more escapability with updraft and tailwind and the smokes as well. But we saw the op come out that round.
That's
Did
where
it
they
feel
get
like
scared.
it worked for 100 Thieves?
I mean, at this point now, it's not going to be an aggressive play on the belt. They try to get that presence because they know Corey's been pushing it before on the high ground or even on the low ground, and now they come face-to-face against an operator. So now it's going to be another obstacle, something else to think about for 100 Thieves under development. And if you're looking at the beginning of these rounds, you don't really see that. Okay, so the Aldrone actually does come out towards belt. You see how early he has to come out now.
Another obstacle? Chuckle,
Nice one,
chuckle,
nice
dad jokes. We do have a trade out coming in from Hiko, which is huge. There's a wall coming in as well. Big fat paranoia ready to go down potentially.
Spike planted.
Zachary has already come out from heaven from distance. Great damage coming out, but it's actually Hiko, the clutch god, delivering. Now Ethan is close, and Ethan could get this timing right, and it could actually work out so incredibly well. It's all about patience right now for Ethan, but Ethan actually decides to stay low. Now that's something that's going to produce a problem. It's the Killjoy ult being used by Steel to potentially keep them at bay, but it's down to just one player remaining. Now, as the lockdown comes through, there's a wall. Ethan's on the other side of it. Ethan will be able to get one kill, but can't do much to stop it. And it's FaZe who take another round when it looked promising for 100 Thieves yet again.
The idea was so good, because he doesn't want to go into the A tower to get the kill in the backstab to give his position away, because it's only an eco right now for 100 Thieves. So now that you have a plant with the wall, you put the ult from Steel towards the pipe side, and you're forcing FaZe to push forward. And FaZe thinks that the whole site is clear. No, they've rotated already from spawn site, from screens. So this is a huge opportunity for Ethan to play time and also get the backstab on the diffuser. The only thing that sucks, though, was that the wall was still up for Nitro. It wasn't even at a point where it was about to melt. So Ethan, with only a ghost, wouldn't be able to break down the wall to get the kill, and his jig was going to be up already no matter what. So unfortunate timing, but the idea was perfect for 100 Thieves.
The rocket comes out. No damage dealt, but look at the amount of map presence they gain off that. They have full B long control, and that allows their Sage to just focus on the underside of Tube because there's a wall currently blocking Tube access.
Yeah.
So you can see what that does. It pulls all of their resources towards mid and B, and then they can just rely on the op, who's currently playing back A, to just play that high ground and pick them off. Now, Ethan does catch Corey getting a little overzealous. Not really a surprise. Ethan! Quick shots coming out. And that is a huge punish, especially as the wall breaks inside Tube. Now this B site has a problem. You've got Sage, who's currently pushed up, hoping to grab a res, but Asuna is here. It's all going to come down to timing. Spotted one. Marv will survive long enough. That is huge.
I thought the timing of that Marv was going to get killed from that one, but the lurk is still strong for 100 Thieves. So they've made it inside the site. We'll get the plant, but it's going to be a double flank from Long B.
You've still got to worry about Baby Bay, who has the ult. The knives are out. We saw how successful that was previously, as Baby Bay was able to retake on the B site and find an ace, no less. So now that the blades are out yet again, swirling through the air, ready to find home and some fleshy targets. We'll see if he can make some space. First, it's the op to do it. Now goes for the swing. No dice. It will be 100 Thieves getting themselves back on the scoreboard. But these rounds, they're few and far between.
Last round in
At least the gap is starting to close up, right? So it's looking pretty good for 100 Thieves. They're starting to wake up a bit in this matchup, and I like the way that they changed their attacker side for that previous round, just because you still had Ethan with a From the Shadows available. So you have that turret up towards mid, and they want to change the pacing on alert from Steel. He was going immediately towards that mid tube, while the rest of them for 100 Thieves are working towards the A side. There's a potential, a possibility, that they might ping out Baby Bay and ult him, but they decide to fall back because of the aggressive push from FaZe that Ethan was able to hold back. If it came down to a point where they actually got into a site, I wouldn't be surprised if Ethan went for a teleport from the shadows to just meet up with his team after, as he's going to be the one playing that lurk.
It's important to note, too, if 100 Thieves can find 4 rounds, it's not bad. Their defensive composition is strong, with Killjoy playing the defense. If you look at FaZe, they don't have a Sentinel, so, well, they do in Sage, but I mean like a Cypher Killjoy style play, so they don't really have as much stopping power. It's going to make things a little bit more difficult on a retake.
I feel the opposite, because their stopping power is in the form of Baby Bay and Corey right now.
but that's the reason why they're playing so aggressive. It also kind of makes things a little bit more interesting, though, when they switch to the attacking side, is how do they watch the back end? Like with a Cypher or Killjoy, even though Cypher's weak on this map, you have that capability. Flying into the site is Asuna, but there's that player, Baby Bay, with the up on high. A kill comes in towards the end. It's going to be Ethan, and he has been really heating up. It's down to a 1-on-2. Spike is down on the site. Can't quite tap the shots into the skull of Marv. 9-3, your halftime score as we get ready to throw things to a break. We'll come back and see if 100 Thieves can bounce back in just a bit. And we are right back into it. 21 kills for Baby Bay in that first half. How do things transition over now, switching to the attacking side, as we saw the op come out numerous times for Baby Bay towards the tail end of that first half. But it started mostly with rifles. It was just a lot of holding that W key and charging towards them. It seemed to work out. Now they got to deal with Steel, though, playing as Killjoy, and that is going to be a massive pain in the butt, as Killjoy on this defensive side can be so ruthless.
Yeah, and you see it from 100 Thieves' point of view. They have 3 guys with full shields, which means that they wanted to emphasize a lot on utility. And that's Steel, Asuna to help towards B side, and Hiko with the shock darts to prevent plants on A side.
Nice nade coming in. That'll force them to the backside of site. It's a big fat paranoia to lead them in as well. Now there's a smoke down that Zachary charges through. And they're using the Owl drone as well, but it doesn't clear back sight. It actually clears the other direction, and that's what allows this to happen. Ethan, even with the dart in his side as the drone turned back, it doesn't matter. 100 Thieves pick up a huge, flawless pistol round to kick off the second half.
But that's the type of style that Ethan likes to play, right? Coming from the other different game where you don't need to use those abilities to try to clear out corners. You kind of go for a jiggle peek, a body peek, and then go for an aim battle. So it's like, hey, come at me. I don't mind. You want to swing out? I'll still win this one right now. And he's been proven time in through these rounds to be very good in terms of the way that he's rifling and also pistoling in this map.
Nice catch.
Thank you.
Take that, observers. Can't count that one.
That's it. I caught myself.
9-4. FaZe still have a massive lead. They're coming into this one, saving quite a bit of utility and cash so they can move into that next round with a little bit more oomph. Now, Hiko does struggle against Marv, who just had a classic, and Asuna charges out, and he's like,
man.
oh my god, there's so many targets. Tries to just keep transferring, but wasn't finishing off the kills in the meantime. FaZe just looking to do some economic damage. Corey's actually gotten all the way up into the kitchen. Might be able to get a kill onto Hiko, who's right around the corner on 80 HP, but Hiko's got the placement ready with the crosshair. And now it's all up to Zachary. Do they anticipate a second player in tube? Zachary's actually going all the way over towards the B site. Might actually be able to sneak a plant out of this.
Well, he's got to figure it out. He's got a turret that's super close to him, so hopefully it's not... Oh, it's actually going to be on the top B, so he's going to be able to get it. Actually, that's very well done for FaZe with that lurk at the beginning, despite them losing so many players. Yeah, Seal, that's an easy one to get the kill. But yeah, I got to say that 100 Thieves, I do like the fact that Asuna tried to push through that smoke and try to get some information. And as he saw it, you saw a shock dart that came in from Hiko in the back of Boiler. So they still had that communication. How close are they in that smoke? Where can they be going for FaZe right now? How many players are there in that area? Which is why you saw such a passive play for 100 Thieves right after towards that B side. They don't mind to give FaZe the plant. All they want is to get these diffuse and get closer in these matchups, get closer in the spread of this scoreline. And I wonder if we're looking for a gun. Yeah, we're trying to look for that gun in mid still. I think it's Ethan that's running around.
Actually, I think Steel may have gotten up or had a tech issue because Steel stopped moving immediately after that round. We'll see if we have a timeout called here. It was possible they were trying to give Steel a little bit of extra time. Who knows? Or maybe it wasn't. They were just looking for the gun. But the fact that Steel wasn't moving it kind of made things a little bit more interesting. Now, speaking specifically of Steel, I know that his numbers in the first half weren't all that impressive. Attacking side Killjoy on this map is not exactly ideal. On the defensive side, though, you can play either side of the map and do it well. Killjoy is scary on both B and A. So if you see that kind of flexibility displayed by Steel playing across the map at a variety of places, that's when 100 Thieves can really click on this defense. They're going to be tested here, though. This is going to be a difficult round, given that they're coming into this with a bonus, and there's a lot of money coming in for FaZe.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's just Steel in general, but we're talking about that a bit, because the execution's coming towards it.
Now, that wall is a little bit awkward, but it doesn't seem to hurt them too much. There's a crack in it, and it looks like Asuna wants to sneak on the backside site, almost tried to use it. Has to be careful as the shock darts come in. Counter shock darts coming out. Good damage being dealt to the player's maze. Steel opens up the LMG and starts spraying a hailstorm of bullets towards that direction. They fully rotated off the B site as Steel came over, and they know that based on the LMG sound because they know that Steel was using that previously, which is why you're seeing Baby Bay now peel a bit to try to find an opening somewhere else. Still, though, a lot of presence on the A site.
The presence right now is Asuna, right? And he only has a blast pack left. So it's going to have to be the angle. He has to go for the body peek and get that information and maybe even try to blast pack away if he has to. But we've seen how good he is mechanically. He could technically hold this on his own.
Yeah, they transitioned from full hold to retake, but Asuna looks like he wants to take matters into his own hands. The Sage Wall goes down, and actually, there's a gap. He can get behind this. I'm not sure if they knew that, but it doesn't matter anyway. That's pretty much the round falling apart. The last man standing is Steel, sitting back in spawn with the Ares. And Steel's realizing it's not quite worth it. Turret's going to go down. Maybe not. I guess technically Turret
it just didn't go where he wanted to.
Yeah, it didn't go up like he needed it to.
Oh, but yeah, as we are actually on this topic of Steel, and I wanted to touch base on what you were talking about in Steel, how much of a thorn on the side he could be on the defender side. I think it's just Steel in general, whenever they're playing the defender side, because he's the type of mastermind that just knows the different types of play styles and how to adapt on the fly. So when you're having aggressive players like FaZe right now, or like Gen G when is dashing into sites, he kind of knows where he could place these nanoswarms, where he could place these turrets to actually help 100 Thieves come back and claw back on the defender side. So as FaZe has a lead of a 9-3, and now the gap is slowly closing to a 10-5, there's still a potential that 100 Thieves could catch up in this game. Just Steel needs a few more rounds to know how FaZe are currently playing their attacker side, because we've only seen 3 so far in the second half, and this is a real gun round of this half as well. So this is going to be the first time where you kind of have an idea of how FaZe might spread out and split out their default, and maybe 100 Thieves might adapt on time. But it's a 5-point spread. It's close, but still not close enough.
By the way, got a confirmation that it was more of a technical delay for why they didn't defuse that spike over on B. It wasn't BM or anything, chat, so you can calm down. It was because they had a technical issue. Speaking of technical issues, there we go. I went full beep boop there. I lost everything. Hopefully we'll get it back, and yeah, there we are. No casualties as of yet. Nice shock darts coming out. Look at the damage dealt to their Sage, who's now stuck around the corner. Nitro has to go for this self-heal, and it won't even put him back at full HP, and as he swings, it's a double kill for Marv. Corey as well getting involved in the action, and that's basically the round over yet again. Hiko, the clutch god, what's he got for us? Shock darts coming out. but it's all up to him. The crosshair placement is moist, but Hiko flushed out by the nade. It's a 1v3, shock dart around the corner, but falling back to his original position. Has to be aware of the bullets that are pouring out through tube. Goes for a recon dart, gets destroyed before a pulse can come out. The shots are already coming through the wall, right on the money. FaZe at double digits and spreading the gap further here with 11. They're right on the edge of closing out map 1.
And that's another player that you haven't had a chance to talk a lot about this first half is Marv here. He gets two nice entries into the A site. Didn't have a chance to see that much action because, again, the ones that are on the top of that board are the ones that are getting all these face-to-face, head-on contacts and winning those fights too. So there's no opportunities for trades. There's not really any opportunities for res because they're not dying too for how well FaZe have been playing this map so far. So now that he has an opportunity to say, look, I don't have to fall back or lay back and support my team. I can try to frag with the team too. I mean, that's two great openers for Marv.
I love this. They're going to wall off the underside of tube and they're just going to charge for a split A. And it works out so well. Poor Asuna has been getting bullied this game as they just charge in. Baby Bay is feeling it right now. Shot after shot to the dome of members from 100 Thieves. And now it's all up to Hiko, who used the ult to try to slow things down, and it didn't really seem to make a difference. With just a classic left, I mean, what can you even do? Tube is walled off. Underside's walled off. You've only got a ghost, so really what are you going to do? Nice shots coming out on the Marv at least. And another one. Hold on. We've seen him win rounds like this before, but it would be the most impressive by far if he was able to somehow pull it off. The positions are going to make it difficult, though, when they do. 12 rounds for FaZe.
So this is the old school FaZe. I told you guys, like, guys and girls, there's some rounds where they can just turn on the switch and be good old FaZe. Some rounds is going to be this new FaZe that we've been witnessing throughout the week. So that time, they get the plant, and they also push through spawn, and they didn't even care about the spike. If there was anybody going to be flanking or playing Ninja, everybody left the site and was hunting down the last player, Hiko, even if he only had a ghost. So there was an opportunity after Hiko got those 2 kills where it was like an oh crap moment, Eureka, we have to come back to the site and try to prevent that spike from being defused. But FaZe, because of that confidence level, because of the fragging ability that Baby Bay, Corey, and everybody else actually currently has, they are okay to continue to play such a loose style.
Double op setup coming out from 100 Thieves, and oof, couldn't get the dash in time. The tailwind's a little bit late. So 2 picks for 100 Thieves, both off the back of the ops held by Steel and Nitro.
Good old Baby Bay dash into a player, as I mentioned before.
Exactly. Ethan's still on site. He has been on one. Feeling it right now as the top performer for 100 Thieves. Has to watch his flank, though, as there's players on each side of Maze. Does have support from Asuna, who's in position to make sure that doesn't happen. That's the kill coming in from Asuna onto Zachary. Last player standing as Rock is taking damage inside dark cover, looking to escape. Shock dart's almost right where it needs to be, but it's the round for 100 Thieves. The question is, how long can they keep this going? They're relying on that double op presence.
Exactly. Right, they had it on both sides of the map. You had Nitro opting it from the back of the site of A side. You have Steel on the right side, but now if Steel is playing that close at green, there's an opportunity for FaZe to realize that a flash and dash, or sorry, not a flash, well, they could do it with Zachary, but it's a much slower paranoia. But if they're actually going to be able to get like a recon dart and a dash to push Steel back towards spawn, smoke towards spawn, and play that aggressive play style that they usually do, they could overpower the B site quite easily.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, winner of this will be facing off against XSET during the Masters. Loser has to play Immortals.
Correct.
And if I'm looking at those 2 teams on paper, no disrespect to XSET, but Immortals is scary right now. XSET's been playing well as well. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but based on the way we've seen Immortals play more recently, that is kind of terrifying.
Yep.
Here we've got a fast play onto the A site that seems to be working out. It's paying off early at least. As you can see the pick come through, the ops not really working out so well. Marved again with a heroic performance as the Sage, trying to keep things more manageable, but no! Goes up on top of the wall to play an aggressive play, drops the spike, but it's all gonna fall onto Steel, who's now on the flank with an op. Not exactly an ideal weapon, and the first shot comes through, trying to stop the spike placement, and now they know where he's at.
He's got a full kit though, right? Nanoswarm can maybe flush one player out. There you go. He's going to try to get Raucus out of the way. He can put the turret down. But BBB has the off angle.
The turret doesn't go wide enough to clear out that position. Wants to peek for it, has the inkling that a player could be on high, but it doesn't matter. GGs are called as FaZe picks up the first map in this series, and they make it look somewhat easy. It's a 13-6 win. Now, I have to say, I'm not trying to harp on player performance at all. Steel on the attacking side struggled just because